The chamber filled quickly, its semicircular rows brimming with representatives from 30 different species. Some appeared as holograms, their worlds too distant or dangerous to leave. Others risked their lives to attend in person, desperation evident in their eyes. Fear hung heavy in the air, unspoken but palpable. Reed stepped to the center. His voice carried the weight of every fallen world. The swarm has adapted to everything we've thrown at it. Our strongest fleets, our best shields, even our most advanced bioweapons have failed. We need help. A ripple of murmurs spread through the chamber, quickly growing into a cacophony of disbelief. Reed raised his voice, silencing them. We need the humans. The room exploded in chaos. Representative Max, a gaseous being that shimmered with red hues of anger, floated forward. The Deathworlders? Those savages. Have you forgotten why we quarantined their entire solar system? Reed activated the central display. Footage played of a human trade ship under attack by space pirates 50 years ago. It was vastly outgunned and outnumbered, but the humans had fought back with a ferocity and ingenuity that defied explanation. They defeated the pirates, repaired their ship in the vacuum of space, and rescued alien children from captivity. All this while laughing and shouting words that translators struggle to define. Look at them, Reed said, pointing to the screen. Their world is a death world, 15 times the gravity of most of our planets. They evolved alongside predators that would terrify our bravest warriors. They're resilient, unpredictable, and capable of surviving conditions that would kill any of us. That's exactly why we need them. They're dangerous. Another representative shouted, their form flickering with agitation. Yes, Reed countered, his voice cutting through the objections. Dangerous to their enemies. The swarm adapts because it has never faced anything it couldn't eventually understand. But humans? They're different. They're chaos. They fight harder when they're losing. They take risks no logical species would ever consider. And they're driven by something we can't even begin to comprehend, hope. The chamber fell silent. Officer Bell stepped forward, holding a communication device. Our analysts estimate we have 3 months before the swarm reaches our core worlds. Reed straightened his uniform, his resolve heartening. I'm sending a message to Earth, not demanding, not ordering, asking. Because if there's one thing we've learned about humans, it's that they have an uncanny habit of helping even those who wronged them. The message traveled faster than light, cutting through the galaxy's dark expanse. On Lunar Base, Admiral Tom Walker stood at the observation window, Earth's blue sphere hanging like a fragile jewel in the void. Behind him, the Galactic Council's plea played on repeat in the command center. Play it again, ordered General Thompson, her voice rough but steady. The room was tense. Captain Lisa Brown, one of the last surviving veterans of Earth's previous contact with the Council, leaned against a console. Her prosthetic leg creaked softly as she shifted her weight. 50 years, she said, her tone bitter. They'd locked us in our solar system, treated us like monsters, and now they want our help. The debate in Earth's Defense Council was heated. Some argued for isolation, to let the galaxy face the consequences of its actions. Others saw an opportunity to prove humanity's worth. Lisa's voice cut through the noise. I joined the military to protect people, not just humans. If we let them fall because of old grudges, we're no better than they think we are. Admiral Walker nodded, his decision made. Send the response. Tell the Council humanity accepts their request for aid. And warn them. Things are about to get very unpredictable. Earth's fleet mobilized, a massive collection of warships and support vessels that had never left the solar system. Crews prepared for the journey, their faces a mix of determination and unease. On the flagship Terra's Hope First Officer James Miller checked the final systems as the fleet's gravity drives roared to life. All ships reporting ready, said Lieutenant Ross from the navigation station. Then let's show the galaxy what Earth's children can do, replied Captain Phillips. As the fleet leaped into faster-than-light travel, leaving Earth behind, the vast emptiness of space waited. Somewhere out there, the swarm's relentless advance continued, and in its path lay countless worlds praying that the stories about Deathworlders were true, that they really could turn the tide. But as humanity approached the galactic stage once more, the question loomed, was the galaxy ready for them? The first distress signal crackled through the comms, the voice on the other end trembling with fear. Refugee ships, damaged, overcrowded, and barely functional, struggled to escape the swarm. The fleet adjusted course, preparing for their first encounter with the enemy. The tension on the bridge was thick enough to cut with a knife. Incoming contacts, Lieutenant White reported, his voice tight. Swarm vessels closing fast. Captain Phillips stood, had gray eyes steely. Battle stations, let's give them a reason to remember us. The screen filled with the horrifying sight of the swarm, biomechanical monstrosities, their forms twisting and shifting as if the void itself had birthed them. The first shots were fired, and humanity's unpredictable nature would soon become the galaxy's greatest weapon. But as the ships engaged and the stakes grew higher, one thing became clear: this was only the beginning. The chamber's silence was as heavy as the swirling nebulae outside. High Commander Reed's hand trembled slightly as he glanced around at the gathered representatives. Each one carried the weight of their people's survival in their eyes. It had been years since this room, the Galactic Council's core, had seen such a turnout. Holograms flickered to life, projecting the spectral forms of those who couldn't risk the journey, their faces distorted slightly by the faint hum of interference. It was a haunting sight, a gathering of desperate beings. "We cannot do this alone," Reed repeated, his voice steadier now. "The swarm is unlike anything we have faced. They learn. They adapt. Every weapon, every tactic, nothing works for long." Representative Max, a gaseous entity suspended in a containment sphere, pulsed angrily. "And your solution is to unleash the Deathworlders. Have you lost your mind, Reed? You know why their system is quarantined. Their very existence is a threat to galactic peace." Reed held his ground, meeting the bright glow of Max's containment sphere. "And yet, they're the only species the swarm hasn't faced. Their unpredictability, their resilience, these are not threats anymore. They are our last hope." The chamber buzzed with murmurs, holograms flickering as representatives whispered among themselves. Officer Bell stepped forward, her silvery skin gleaming under the chamber's pale lights. "Let's not forget," she said, her tone measured, "Earth's quarantine wasn't only about their danger. It was fear. Fear of their strength. Fear of their adaptability. And fear that we couldn't control them." "Exactly," shouted another representative, their translucent form shimmering with agitation. "We couldn't control them then. What makes you think we can now?" Reed's antennae twitched. "We don't need to control them. We need to trust them." He gestured to the display in the center of the chamber. It shifted, showing grim footage of worlds consumed by the swarm. Planets stripped bare, their populations gone. "We're running out of time. This is not about pride or politics. This is about survival." The murmurs quieted. The footage on the display changed again, showing grainy images of humans in action, a lone trade ship taking down 3 pirate vessels, a rescue team pulling survivors from a collapsing colony, a soldier holding the line against overwhelming odds. The humans were smaller than many of the species in the Council, but moved with an intensity that was unmistakable. "Look at them," Reed said, his voice rising. "They thrive in conditions that would kill us. They've mastered survival on a world we once deemed uninhabitable. They are chaos, yes, but chaos might be the only answer to an enemy that thrives on order." For a moment, there was silence. Then, slowly, a representative from the aquatic world of Dryan spoke up, their voice a series of translated clicks and hums. "If we send this message," they said, "what guarantees do we have that the humans will help? They owe us nothing." Reed hesitated, then nodded. "They owe us nothing. But history shows that humans have a peculiar trait. They help anyway. Even when wronged. Even when isolated. They have a capacity for forgiveness that defies logic." Bell stepped forward again. "We need to decide now. Do we risk everything on the chance that humanity's chaotic nature might save us, or do we continue fighting a losing battle, knowing the swarm will reach us all in the end?" The council chamber fell into a tense silence. Finally, one by one, the representatives began nodding, their holograms flickering with faint agreement. Reed didn't smile, though. He knew this was just the first step in a long and dangerous journey. Far across the galaxy, Admiral Tom Walker stood on Lunar Base's observation deck, staring at the message playing on the holographic display. High Commander Reed's plea echoed through the room, each word carefully chosen, each phrase carrying the weight of desperation. Around him, Earth's top military minds listened in silence. When the message ended, General Thompson leaned back in her chair, her weathered face unreadable. "They quarantined us for 50 years, she said finally. "Locked us in our own system like animals, and now they come crawling back." "It's not crawling," said Captain Lisa Brown, who had been part of Earth's last contact with the Council decades ago. "It's desperation. The swarm isn't just their problem anymore. If they fall, it's only a matter of time before it's our problem too." Walker folded his arms, his gaze still fixed on Earth's blue and green sphere hanging in the darkness outside. "The question isn't whether we can help, it's whether we should." The room's central hologram displayed Earth's fleet, 500 warships, thousands of support vessels, and over 1 million personnel. Built in isolation, the fleet was a testament to humanity's ingenuity and paranoia. They had prepared for war, but not for this kind of play. "We built this fleet to defend ourselves," Walker said, "not to save a council that abandoned us when we needed them most." Lisa stepped forward, her voice firm. "We're not just fighting for the council. We're fighting for everyone who's ever been crushed under the swarm's advance. We're fighting to show that humanity isn't just about survival, it's about hope." The room was silent. Then General Thompson nodded. "Prepare the fleet," she said, "and send the council our response. Humanity will help, but they'd better be ready for what that means." Across Earth and Lunar Base, the fleet came alive. Ships powered up, crews rushed to their stations, and engineers ran final checks on systems designed for war. As the fleet prepared for departure, Walker stood at the observation deck, watching the stars. Somewhere out there, a battle was waiting, and humanity was about to show the galaxy what it truly meant to face the children of a death world.